I think if he had drawn that game, I don't think he would have got sacked.
No, you got to win that, man.
No, I think he's got to win still. I'm not going to.
If
you look at West Ham have been getting peppered.
Yeah.
For weeks on weeks on weeks on weeks.
Mm-hmm.
They've looked woeful. Their defense has been the worst.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow, you're telling me out of all the teams in the world, it has to be you lot that they turn around and win against.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
I think,
who wins on the bounce would have been good for him.
Anything away from 3 points, he was getting sacked. Even if they drew that game, he was getting sacked.
Yeah.
I don't think he was surviving.
Yo, what's good, people? Welcome back to Keep It 90, another episode where we ain't going to be keeping it 100. The only place where you find us keeping it 90 all the time. You are joined by myself at Anita Abayomi on all social media platforms, and we are here with...
Is this what we're doing today?
Yeah,
what's going on?
Different. It's different. Well, all right, Prince, introduce yourself, man. How you doing? How you been?
I'm all right, man. I'm chilling. I'm happy. Can't lie. I'm in a good mood. My team picked up 3 points this weekend, so I can't complain. Can't complain.
3 point collectors, man. The one and only of this conversation right now. Good. How's the weekend been, man?
Yeah, it's not too bad, thanks. It was just chilling, and then obviously Sunday was football for me, Selhurst Park, and then came back 4:30 to watch Arsenal Liverpool, which we'll talk about. And but yeah, overall it was a good weekend. Can't complain.
Whoa.
I didn't think I was going to make it, but I did make it. I literally just got back from the event. You know, we got to talk. I had to be here. I had to be here today in football because too much, man. I actually can't believe it. Hi, everyone. I'm Sam. The world of football is just shaking. You want new introductions? And ask for our names and what our hobbies are.
What's your hobby, fam?
I don't even know what my hobby is.
Last but not least, Shiz, how you been, man? How you doing?
Nah, the weekend was all right. I was doing a lot of traveling. I went up to Leeds for my cousin's birthday. Came back, still recovering from that journey, boy. Trains are expensive, so I took the coach. I said, nah, I'm not doing it. Trains are like £100 and something pounds. It's just not even making sense. Like, when did we get here? Like, when did we get here? But
it's mad still. Like, sometimes it's cheaper just to go abroad than travel around this country.
This is it. I can actually probably get a train to Paris cheaper than I can to go to Leeds. Like, imagine. It's
a flight to Paris.
Yep. Exactly.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about the economy. Like Sam said, football was shaken. And the first thing to shake things up, earlier this afternoon, it was confirmed that Erik ten Hag has been sacked as Manchester United manager. I ain't sure about you guys, but I was hoping it would last a little bit longer. But let's get some reaction from Sam, because this is the only reason why Sam is here, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, no, don't say that. I wanted to speak to you guys as well, obviously.
Please. You didn't even ask me how I was, bro.
But it's, how are you? How's everyone?
Shut up. Just get on with it.
Honestly, I'm not surprised, but at the same time, I'm shocked. Like, it's one of them ones where I thought, because of what they done in the summer, where they backed him in the transfer window, where they gave him an extension, I thought that they would at least see out until the new year. And even after the result that they had against West Ham, where I didn't watch the game, but from the reviews and what everyone was saying is that they actually dominated the game. They just didn't take their chances. We've all seen the VAR situation. We all talk about VAR all the time. They got bumped. And the fact that it's happened after that result seems a bit deep in a sense. But then when you look at his actual results and what he's done since the first year, because the first year, I think it was like they started poor, they got better, finished in a good spot. And everyone was saying, okay, cool. They could start kicking on and start challenging. The second year was everything but that. And then this year, it's like you've got your players, you've got your new hierarchy, you've got your coaching staff. They've got rid of the players that you didn't want in the squad anymore. Sancho's gone, Ronaldo's gone. Your star man that you signed is even on the bench. like, and no one even says anything to you about that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, he had to get things right to start off the season, and he just hasn't. And for them to be in 14th after 9 games it's in a sackable offense, isn't it? It's a sackable offense, and yeah, I'm just annoyed that we've got them next, and I just don't know what's going to happen anymore.
Okay, so but when you look at it in a grand scheme of things, right? It's been 3 months into the season. Obviously, being 14th isn't ideal, but you can kind of look at it as he just won a trophy for the team. He's come into the season. He hasn't had the best of starts, fine, but he's just won that trophy. Shouldn't he have had a little bit more of extra grace? Is it just me? Everyone's literally shaking their head.
Nah. I mean,
Why not?
he's had. There's been plenty of seasons now. Like, how long has he been there for now? What was it? 2 seasons?
2.5 years, yeah.
2.5 years.
2.5
Like,
years, yeah.
it comes to a point where like it's because in fact we don't even laugh at them no more. It just seems normal for them to be losing, and that's not normal for Man United. Like, it's
I laugh. I'd be cackling.
That shouldn't be your normal. Like, for me, this is perfect. I don't mind. Like, but that shouldn't be Man United's like normal. Like, you had the backing in the transfer window, so things should start to you start to see things click. If I'm taking you guys for example, yeah, Maresca's come in, and on paper, people will say that United are the better team. Like, people on paper will say that, right? Looking at the players that you have in that team. I think a lot of people do say that United have the better team, you know.
I don't think so. You know. Listen, when you spend $1 billion, I expect a lot of things to be underneath.
On, man, a lot of what Chelsea's billion.
Yeah. Like, I can't lie. I hear what you're saying about. I hear what you're saying about United, but I think there's so much to his job that he's got wrong that has led him to this situation. Like, when you actually look at the squad, like, it is not like, in comparison to your Cities, Arsenal's, Liverpool's, Chelsea, Spurs, West Ham, like, I can keep going. Like, but even if you go lower, you talk about like the Bournemouths and stuff like that. Like, they've got Aston Villa. Like, do you know what I mean? Fulham. Like, these teams, yeah, they've got players they've either got players or philosophy that makes sense for how they want to move forward. United don't have either. Like, you look at their squad and you're like, okay, cool. Where do your strengths come from? Like, who are your best players in every position? And then when you look at style of players, like, okay, what style of play do you have that we can say, okay, cool. Even if you don't have the best players, you're going to play in a particular way, and we know, okay, United can get results. They've lost all of that. Even under Ole, they had that. So it's like, he's really like, he got a chance in the summer to carry on. And I think everyone knew he was walking on eggshells. Like, if it doesn't work in the first few months, then you're cutting out. And that's what's happened, man. That's what's happened, literally.
I kind of want to go to Copes on this one, yeah. And I'm not even directing those shades or nothing. But I look at someone like Arteta, right? And when Arteta first came to Arsenal, they were back-to-back 8s. He still won the FA Cup. And there were still words singing around, like, trust the process, right?
Yeah.
And I still feel like there are a portion of United fans that want to trust this process. But at the same time, there's also a large amount that are over the process. But Arsenal fans kept faith in that process. Well, what's the difference here? I just don't understand it.
It's the
Bigger club.
The difference is, well, yeah, one bigger club, but it's also well, yeah, but Man United is bigger than you as well. Like, but anyway, listen. Don't get me off my.
I told you, I'm coming in peace.
But no, in terms of the difference, it's also progress. As I think Sam mentioned, I think his first season he was what, 3rd? Second season, 8th, and now he's sitting in currently 14th. So at least with Arsenal, we were seeing the issues that were at hand. So first, Arteta was trying to clear the problem players and the deadwood. Then he was trying to insert players that was going to adjust to his system. And we were slowly starting to see each phase as to what he was trying to achieve, which has resulted for the last sort of 3rd year, where we're actually competing and we're actually seeing what all that sort of like, all that business was going leading up to this point. Whereas we're looking at United, and he spent a lot of money. As has been pointed out, we've seen the likes of big names like Ronaldo, all that controversy is Sancho. You brought in your Antonys, you brought in all these players, which are also your players. And we're just not seeing any sort of real progress, really. I mean, granted, two cups, but just generally, it's just when you look at league form, and the Champions League and these kind of things, which as being Manchester United, you are held in high regard for. You're just there's just nothing there, really, is it? Like as you said, we're all just sort of laughing week in, week out. We're like, let's keep Ten Hag in so we can keep having a good laugh every weekend. So unfortunately for him, he's just, for whatever reason, whether or not it's the players just didn't mess with him or the style of play he was trying to incorporate just wasn't what they were feeling, but it's just not working for him, unfortunately.
They just lost their DNA, I think. Like coming back to what you were saying, Anita, there is like if you look at Arteta, it's like what Coach was also saying is that we kind of got rid of the deadwood, but we were starting to see some form of play starting to like come together, and we're starting to see a bit more techie play, like a bit more techie.
As well.
Yeah, with Ten Hag, I just feel like it's like go out there and just do what you can. Like it just didn't feel like there was any game plan, and it was like this game in, game out. It's like, oh, are United going to win today? Oh, are they not going to win? There was never like a run of good form or run of good games where it was like, okay, we're starting to see some improvements. It was like, all right, cool, you win the FA Cup, great. Or was it the Carabao? Whichever one it was that they won.
They won both, didn't it?
Oh yeah, they won both. All right, fairs. But it's like you're 14th now. You've been given more funding, more backing in the transfer window, and we're still not seeing a style of play that is making sense for this team. It just might be that this manager doesn't suit what he's trying to do for this team, and I feel like it comes to a point where you can no longer back that manager anymore.
Also, I know that Højlund was injured at the beginning of the season, but generally speaking, these first sort of 9 games, they've had a relatively, all the players have been fit, haven't they? Outside of Højlund and Euros, so. He doesn't even have that excuse. At least last year, everybody was saying, oh, our defense, we had X amount of people out throughout the entire year.
They had Bruno playing centre back up.
Yeah, like they had a bunch of injuries where you can't even use that as an excuse this season. You've literally got your entire team fit and you still can't get things clicking. So
I was gonna say, in terms of the injuries, you got to factor in like the manager's input in that. Like sometimes rushing players back from injury, sometimes playing players when they shouldn't be playing. Like we saw it, for example, with Chelsea and how many injuries they had under Pochettino, and when he was rushing players back, the type of training he was doing. And I think I saw it in Carve saying on Sports News Today that a lot of the players came up to Ten Hag last season saying that some of the training that they were doing was affecting how the injuries that they were getting and things like that. And they were saying it was too hard or this and that. So obviously these things plays a part in that players getting injured. Like Euro, who came to United with an injury or like a slight injury, played in pre-season during a time where, you know, the American pitches are not as good as the pitches in the UK, and he's got injured. Like, do you know what I mean? So these are the things that, like, I'm sure the hierarchies have to think about. But I think overall, regardless of how this looks on Ten Hag, it shines a light on Ineos though. They've got a big decision to make for their next job, the next person that comes in, because if they get it wrong, then they've made like multiple bad decisions since joining United. And it could have been completely different if they had said or parted ways in the summer and said, all right, cool, you've won us this trophy, but the whole season wasn't good enough, so we're going to part ways. Thank you for your services. If the fans aren't happy, they're not happy, but they get over it when you start winning. Prime example, Chelsea. Like, do you know what I mean? So like you have to make those bold choices. But where they backed him to get players again from that under him and then gave him an extension on his contract, now have to pay him more. Like these decisions just don't look like it's weird.
Because then it's like, what manager can come into this situation and currently fix what they have in front of them?
I think that's the man for the job. That's the man for the job. I think
they can get Gareth Southgate back. I don't mind laughing for another few years. I do not mind that.
He's not managing for another year. He said he's not going to manage for another year. I
think that lines up with Van Nistelrooy taking over just to see what he could do for the rest of the season. And then, because obviously, realistically, the Premier League-wise, the season's kind of over for them anyway. It's been over. So Van Nistelrooy taking over for the rest of the year is not that bad. And then, do you know what I mean? If he's like a diamond in the dirt, then they keep him. And if not, Southgate, that's probably...
There's other names ringing about like Xavi and Nagelsmann.
I don't know if did you actually see, sorry to cut you, did you see what his wife posted? Xavi's wife.
He's getting the United top.
So they was at a dinner table and one of the kids had the new United top on. And like, she's kind of posted a family photo, but obviously I don't think she kind of read the room,
Don't
and he had
beg,
the little
man.
kid had the United top. So I don't know, but is that? Come on, it's big Xavi.
Might
Xavi
be
don't need to
feeding
beg
a
no
little
one.
something,
She's
you know?
begging, man. It's disgusting.
I'm just saying,
Remember
I'm
when
just
he was
saying this.
begging for Arsenal? Come on, man.
I'm
Don't
just
be
saying,
begging
like,
for it.
a United top, he would have a Barca top, no? Like, just yeah, something just-
Exactly.
so that's why I was thinking there might be reason why he's got a United top, and it might be because papers have already been signed behind the scenes. That was only posted yesterday, and then this news came out today. So
That is crazy.
take from that as you will.
And to be fair, you can tell that this has been something that they've been like kind of brewing behind the scenes, because it was after the Spurs game that we all expected him to get sacked, right? I think it was the Spurs game where there was like, I think the international break, the last international break where everyone was like, okay, it's coming. Like this is going to be the news. So when he wasn't, it was like, maybe they haven't been able to agree with the next person that's in charge or whatever. But it's just, I think it's just weird. Like Ineos, I don't know. Like obviously being owners or like new owners, you want to get the decisions right, and you want to like make sure that you're following the procedures and stuff like that. But it's looking mad in the light, man. I'll be honest. Like there's a lot of pressure, because even if Van Nistelrooy doesn't succeed in the next few weeks, that's even more pressure for them to make sure that the next person comes in sooner than they might have wanted. You know what I mean? So,
But the question is, who? If it's not Xavi, Nine Woodman, who? Do you get it? Like, I'm just confused as to who can actually come into this mix and make things tick. I'm looking at their team. Huh?
Thomas Frank.
Looking at their team individually, though, do you think he can make that click? You got Anthony on the wing, you've got Xerxes up front, you've got an injured Hodgland. I don't know how to say that man's name, but you got injured Hodgland.
Hodgland.
Well, why is there a J? Why is there a J? You got injured. You got injured Hoyland. You got what? You got Ugarte in the midfield. You've got a random seeds of players in this team. How do you make it click? I don't see it clicking on paper. And you're saying Thomas Frank, but I still can't see it. They got to get rid of people in January.
But it was only Thomas Tuchel that was going to save this team, and I'm glad he's gone.
Thank God.
They just need a coach. They just need a coach. Like they need a coach that, like, because realistically, when you have like managers or coaches that come in, they normally should be able to deal with like any circumstance that they're put under. It's not about like the players and all of this stuff. That's almost like the older generation of like the Mourinhos and Wengers. Oh, we need this, we need that, we need that. The new age coaches are coming in and saying, like, okay, these are the players, these are the profiles. You're almost selling yourself to the clubs and saying, okay, cool, this is what I can do with these players. You think Enzo didn't have to do a PowerPoint presentation or even you have to do that stuff because you're coming in to coach what we already have. And more time, I think with Ineos, they're trying to change the angle of what they're doing. They're trying to relieve the manager of all of that the players that you get in. It's like you're coming in to coach. These are the players that you're dealing with. Ten Hag was like in between both, where he was still involved, but he wasn't as involved as getting the Anthonys. Do you know what I mean? So just get a young coach that is hungry to be successful at the top, because this is the best time to do it. Like the best time. You can't have company at Bayern Munich, Enzo Maresca at Chelsea, Arteta at Arsenal. Like this is the time. This is the time to trust him.
To be honest with you, I wouldn't be mad at I know you mentioned Thomas Frank. I wouldn't be mad at Xavi if I'm honest with you, because I still quite liked what he did at Barca. Considering the rubbish that's going on behind the scenes there, I feel like if he was actually given a proper good chance, I think we'd see something with him. So I'm hoping to see Xavi. I want to see what I want to see giving him. I mean, not to say that behind the scenes at Man United is any better than Barca, but I just feel like he didn't have a proper good chance. And it was embarrassing because he got them to a stage where actually they wanted to keep him, but by that point it was too late. It was like, I'm out. So I think Xavi.
You want them to keep Xavi because you don't believe Xavi can do anything. I
like Xavi. I like Xavi. Listen,
I like Xavi too, but I don't think he could do nothing so Xavi can go there. Yeah, I know that.
You didn't rate him.
You say Nagelsmann because he might just do something, right?
Bro, but I'm just saying, if I had to pick, hey, Xavi, listen, I'm all about second chance.
I'm picking Southgate. That's who I'm picking. Go
Harmony.
Gareth. Go Gareth, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Gareth will bring back the harmony to that squad, man. They don't look like they
Yeah.
like each other. He will bring them back the harmony.
Did you see what Roy Keane said on his Insta?
What did he say?
No.
He said, let me get the actual post because it's actually is quite interesting. Like the caption is, he put a selfie of himself, yeah, get mad serious. And he said, in good teams, coaches hold players accountable. In great teams, players hold players accountable. So I'm thinking he's not been the biggest fan of like the United team in general, yeah. And you can kind of see that there's been it's been like the same type of story for all of these managers. There's still a core of players that are still at United. Ten Hag tried to get rid of the Maguires, the Lindelofs, still there. Do you know what I mean? Is there a part of any of us that think that regardless of the next manager that comes in, the same old story is
150%?
Literally, they've got to get rid of the players. In January, they need to begin their clear out. Summer, they need to begin their clear out. And whatever manager that they go with, they need to go with that regime, whatever that manager wants, and bring in that guy's players. Unfortunately, Man United don't seem to have money like that, which we'll come to because I copy Mano and right man asking for lifts and that. But seriously speaking, they don't have enough money to do this turnaround. So what Roy Keane is saying is true, but at the same time, we've got to be realistic with ourselves as well. What manager is really going to come in and
they've got to take their time with it as well. If you're saying that there needs to be a whole overhaul of like the players that are in there at the moment, you need to take a time with your decision. It doesn't need to be rushed. If you've got Van Nistelrooy that you think that can hold the fort for a bit, that can give you time to actually find the correct person. You don't want to start rushing these decisions and then next week or the next 2 years or the next year we're looking again and then like we see that another United's manager's been sacked. You want to get it right and you want to make sure that you've got the correct player, the correct manager to manage these players, but also get rid of the players that you don't need, because the amount of money that they spent during summer getting all the people that Ten Hag wanted, now you're telling me that you're thinking that some of these people might have to get the chopping block. Like,
it don't make sense.
It don't make sense at all. Like, you have to take a time with this decision and see who can get the best out of the club, and then also add on, because I think getting rid and doing all that stuff, I think it's, for being honest with ourselves, it's not really that feasible.
And I think United fans have got to understand this process that they're going for is going to take a lot. It's going to take longer than what we've seen as of the recent with like Chelsea, for example. It's going to take a lot longer because
they can't be as drastic.
Yeah, and it's you know what I mean? A lot of your players that they need to ship out are older ages. Like when Chelsea had to get rid of, for example, like the Mason Mount scenario, the Havertz and the Aspis and all of this, it was like, you know what I mean? Even with Rudiger, and if you go a little bit further back, it was one of those scenarios where it was like, okay, well, these lot still have value that you can sell them, even down to Gallagher of last season. We were still able to ship that on. Casemiro, Bruno, you know what I mean? Rashford in current form, them players are not attractive where it's like, Rashford, yeah, but I'm talking about, you know what I mean? Other players, you're sitting there and you're like, how can we shift this, make money, and then still build? This is going to take a much longer process. And I feel like it's going to be tough for any manager to come in because of how bad they've been in the last couple of years as well. It's going to be like, they're going to want an instant turnaround, and that turnaround is not instant. What's going on at that club at the moment?
The reality is like, and I know Anita was joking but not joking, but they do have to somewhat follow the Arsenal method, because what you lot are saying, that's literally what happened at Arsenal. The reality is, as you just said there's a lot of players which realistically it's going to be a struggle to sell them, or you're going to have to maybe just let them go, as we had to do. And that's just going to have to be a thing where also when you're looking at the manager, it has to be someone where when you're having that conversation or that interview, it's not what you can do for me now, but it's what can you do for me in the future. It's got to be a long-term project. You've now got the likes of, I can't remember the gentleman's name. Is it Dean Ashworth? Is it Dean Ashworth?
Yeah, Dan Ashworth.
Dan Ashworth, sorry, from Newcastle. You're bringing in sort of these guys that are meant to help as far as with the transfer process and just looking at a particular player profile. So you've actually got a full team now where it's a case of, okay, the next person we bring in, we now need to look forward. We need to look over the next 2, 3, 4 years while we're getting rid of X amount of players. We're trying to sort out our finances. We're trying to figure out fixing the stadium here and there. Like, there's a lot of things going on at United where whoever comes in, it needs to be agreed that this isn't something that we will be able to get done in one season. It's something that the idea is we are going to be looking at this long term.
Yep.
Go on, Sam.
No, I was just going to say, yeah. So in terms that was proper official, isn't it? I was gonna say if we're gonna round off this United section, I was gonna say if we go through, 'cause I've got a list of their players in front of us, and you guys are talking about players that they should keep or should sell. So all right, cool. Just a quick round off of the players that they have, not the young G's, because there's some that are a few like 18, 19-year-olds that they're obviously not gonna sell. But I'll start off with the window that they've just had in terms of keep or sell. Yeah. So Joshua Zirkzee.
Keep.
He's already going Juve, innit?
There was a rumor that
he's already agreed to go Juve on loan in January.
No way.
In January on loan. Yeah, I don't know how true it is, but apparently
keep him. I think he could become good. You never know. But then Ballon staying ahead of him, and it's
I don't have any faith in him. I'll get him out.
Did he get an assist on the weekend?
At least give him a chance at that shadow striker that he was playing at Bologna. They got him trying to play number 9, and he's not a number 9. So I just feel a bit sorry for him as well. You got to give him a chance. There's no difference to like Nico Jackson.
I'll give him time personally.
Yeah, because it's not even like Jackson. No, because you remember Jackson was a winger, and at the beginning when he was at Chelsea, everyone was like, "Oh, this guy's not a striker. He's missing X, Y, and Z." Yeah. But looking at him this season, you gave him that time, and Jackson's looking good now. Now everyone's putting him in his FPL now.
But in Jackson's first season, how many goals? I think he scored like 14 goals. I don't see Zirkzee getting to that amount.
Yeah, but Zirkzee's not a striker. That's the problem. So you got to at least give him the opportunity to try and just to it. So
I agree. You know what, Coates? I agree with you on that regard of giving a player extra time. I would only say with Zirkzee, like, and the Jackson scenario, and even like for Jesus, when they speak about he doesn't score enough goals, is sometimes you can see the other aspects of their play that you can appreciate. Like with Zirkzee, I know he's like tall, he's meant to do the hold-up play and quick with his feet, but I still don't see that.
I don't see it.
I don't see that. Like, at least Jackson was a nuisance. You know, when Jesus is on the ball, do you know what I mean? Even down to like Solanke and Richarlison and guys like that, when they don't score, you start to see other aspects. I'm not quite seeing stuff with Zirkzee, but like I said, his first season, it's only been like 9 games. So I can't judge it too much.
You gotta be ruthless with it. Get him out.
All right, cool. Mazraoui.
Keep.
I like him.
Yeah, I like him.
Okay. Manuel Ugarte.
To be decided.
I ain't seeing nothing. TBD. Yeah.
You see, now I'm only speaking from when he was meant to sign him. I didn't see nothing when he was at PSG, and he's come here and it's the same stuff. So I don't know.
I agree, and I found it interesting that United paid that price for a player that PSG wanted to sell that they had just signed last season.
Yeah,
and one when they just got rid of Mbappe as well. Like, I mean, once you get rid of a main player, you're keeping every other player if they
that you think is important. Yeah,
exactly. So from when you're going in the same window as Mbappe, red flag to me.
All right, De Ligt.
They got to keep
him. Keep.
Yeah.
I feel like going through the whole Man United list, not the whole of it, but like the main characters in that dressing room, I'll give you a couple of sells. I will give you a couple.
All right, so Maguire.
Sell.
Yeah, he's got
to man.
Time's over.
Time's done, man.
Yeah. Time's over. Time's over.
Luke Shaw.
Time's over.
Time's up.
You can't depend on him.
Yeah,
he's not reliable.
Yeah.
In a bit, I'll be out.
Casemiro.
Yeah.
Minutes. I don't care if he scored against West Ham. Get him out.
You want to chill. You don't want to be out.
He's got to get gone, man. He's got to get gone. Yeah, time's up as well, man.
Ericsson's leaving, is he not? Didn't he not come out and say he's out?
I didn't see that.
He said after this season, I'm gone, mate.
I'm out.
Man.
Yeah.
Mason Mount.
I would have got him gone as well.
Yeah,
if I'm honest.
So there's not that many players left.
Rashford. Bye.
You say bye to Rashford?
100%.
But I would only say bye to Rashford only for the fact that I feel like Rashford needs a new start. He's still got something in the tank. He's still got something in the tank, but he needs a new fresh pitch, fresh fans. He needs a new start.
I say Rashford needs to leave, not because of Man United. He needs to leave because the fans don't deserve him. They do not deserve him. The way they've turned their back on Rashford in recent years is disgusting. Get him gone to a PSG where he'll be treated like a god.
Listen, but what I will say
that they will boo Messi, boy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and also I will say, to be treated like a god, as you're saying, there also needs to be a level of consistency. And Rashford,
I think he can deliver that.
well, he needs to show it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
He doesn't
But
show it.
how could he have shown it with Man United? When one, his own fans are booing him. Two, obviously Ten Hag's gone now. Ten Hag was in and out, was starting him, and he was just wishy-washy with him and what position he played and what his role was in the team. It was really wishy-washy with him.
No, I agree with you, but I'm just talking generally across, not just with Ten Hag, but overall his career. When you just look at the numbers, like sometimes we've got Rashford here, then other times he's down here, up here, down. Like there's just a lot with him where it's just. I feel sorry for him because sometimes it's the injuries, but there is a problem where you do look at him season on season and he can score 30 goals one year and then it's 9 the next. There is a consistency where, especially if you're playing at the top clubs, fans and pundits and analysts and everyone alike are looking at you going, okay, what's the problem here?
Yeah, but even in those years where one year he was scoring 30, the next year I'm scoring 9, it was kind of like different managers were coming through the doors at the same time, so they were using him differently. So if you look at Oli, that's where his best years were. Partially with Jose, he had some really good years there, and under Van Gaal as well, with his breakthrough season, he had really good times there. And obviously everything went downhill when Ralph Rangnick came in. Oh my God, that was the time when Ralph Rangnick came in and shit just went downhill. So he's delivered on consistency in the past. It's just the managers as of recent haven't really had a clue with how to get him ticking. So put him in the right team with the right manager, Rashford's going to be back on top again.
I think the type of footballer he is, he suffered from jumping on the scene at the age that he did and a lack of consistency, like you said, Anita, with the type of manager that he has. Like, that type of winger, you need to have consistency in terms of what they're asking of you. There was a point for like a good 3-4 years where everyone was saying, is he a striker? Is he a winger? All of this stuff. That doesn't help. Like, obviously, there's certain players that can do that role, but really and truly, we can't really say that for a lot of man. Like Salah, he's a winger and he's great on the wing. Saka, he's a winger, he's great on the wing. Do you know what I mean? Like those guys, if you want to be great, you got to stick to, like, do you know what I mean? You got to stick to that position. And I think United, because of the changes in their managers and the changes in their squad, what they've asked of him, and the fact that he's been that player that they've relied on, I feel like he almost has that pressure of always being that player, but he's still a player that needs to be told how to do certain things. Do you know what I mean? So it's interesting to see what's going to happen with Ten Hag now being out and like the players having to take more responsibility, because it's not going to be on Van Nistelrooy, it's going to be on the players, because no one
players now.
Van Nistelrooy to build like this.
That new manager bounce though against Chelsea.
It's always us. It's always us, man.
You don't be fine, man.
We'll see. Should we move on to the other big story of
the Ballon d'Or?
The Ballon d'Or, bro.
Hey, are we not going to talk? Wait. Are we not going to talk about United having to ride the wave with City to the
fam?
This is a part of it. This is a part
of it. Okay, my bad.
This is a part of it. So the Ballon d'Or, the ceremony is today. We're obviously recording it on a Monday, yeah. And for some reason, for the last 2-3 months, we've actually thought that Vinny's just winning the award.
Yeah.
Who's we?
No, it's been like reported. It's been reported that he's winning the award.
Okay, do you know what?
Yeah, everyone's been talking about it.
So like it's very strange that on the day of the award, that there's now been reports that Real Madrid aren't going, Vinny's not going, Bellingham's not rolling. Like, where's this come from?
Do you know? I think the biggest problem, and it's away from this, is that I really dislike this whole culture of why do we even know who's top 10, top 5, top 3, and the winner before? What's the point in going to the ceremony? Would you not watch the Premier League right now if you knew who was going to win it? If they turned around and said, "Oh, Liverpool's going to win the league," we already know and we've seen it. Oh yeah, they're going to win, and that came out. No one would watch football. What's the point? What's the point in having this big ceremony for one of the greatest awards in individual football history ever? And we know the winner, and now people are saying, "Well, I'm not coming because I know I'm not winning it." Where did that happen?
Facts.
But do you know, this isn't new. Like before the Ballon d'Or ceremony. No, but it's not new. So before I'm talking about just like Real Madrid finding out. when Messi was going to win, everyone knew Messi was going to win. When Ronaldo was going to win, everyone knew Ronaldo was going to win. When Modric was going to win, it was heavily like around that Modric is about to win this Ballon d'Or. So these officials, they know in good timing who's going to win and who's not going to win. It's just that on the day, us knowing that they're going to turn around and they're not going to calm, blah, blah, blah. That's the only thing that I would have liked.
They need to
I
keep
agree
it from the
with Paddy,
fans.
though. I don't think we knew as much though, because like even when Messi and Ronaldo's were winning it like that, where were we getting the information from? We only knew because we knew that these lot had outstanding seasons.
It was only going to be one of the two at a time. No, Anita,
you know what?
It was getting ridiculous.
Me, I'm speaking from a place of I was a journalist from 2017, innit? It will always just come on my table. It will come on my table like the week before, and I'll be like, oh, okay. So this person's been in the Ballon d'Or.
That's what I'm saying. Even a week before, we knew this for like 3 months. Like they were talking Vinny. Even that video. Remember when they were in the Champions League final and Rio was like Ballon d'Or. It was
when they won the Champions League. They were saying it, and I'm thinking to myself, what's the point of having this big ceremony where people? Could you imagine? There's no suspense. There's no fun. Knowing who's going to win everything. Like, what's the point?
But I think the way it is like transpired today with how, okay, Madrid aren't rolling, Vinny's not rolling, and Rodri, I think that is, maybe they're trying to bring that element back to it, because I know this has taken Fabrizio and them man by surprise, because they were reporting Vinny for time. Like it was literally a thing. I even saw a post today of Fabrizio when he was talking about like the amount of people that had voted for Vinny and this. So I'm sure that they're shocked. But what are we saying? Do we think that we've spoke about it before, and we spoke about it in length, so we don't have to do it too much. But like, Shiz, what are you saying? Do you think Rodri deserves it?
You see, I said before that I feel like this is Vinny's year. Like I feel like this is for Vinny. Like everything that he's done. Finals like of the Champions League, like this guy has done everything. I thought it was his to win. I thought it was in the bag. Obviously it's not taking anything away from Rodri, because I think Rodri's a great player, but I just don't know where I just don't know where the turn came from, because I feel like we were all just like all just so sure. Like it's so confusing to me. When I saw it, I said Rodri. I mean, fair enough. Like, obviously, like City won shit. Like, they got the 4-peat, like all of that stuff's under his belt. He had a great season last season.
And the Euros,
won the Euros as well.
Won the Euros.
I don't even know what the debate's about.
I get it. Like, I get it. I just thought it was Vinny's to have in it, but again, it's deserved at the end of the day. Really, for thinking about what he's done and everything he's done with club and country, all of that. Like, he deserves it, man. It's just give it to him. I don't think it's that deep. Is what it is.
It's what are you saying? Because you I feel like your facial. I don't know how to read you. I don't know if your team Rodri. Because I feel like there's been a lot of uproar. Like from what I've seen online today, there's uproar. Like, why is Rodri winning it? But I'm thinking this has been one of the best players in the world for the last 4 years.
Yeah. I agree with you. I 100% agree. Rodri's been one of the best players in the last 4 years. Even the last season that he had 17 goals and assists in the league alone from a DM is nuts. But obviously,
it's crazy.
I still look at circumstances. Man City had a lot of injuries. It gave him more of a free role in that midfield to be more creative, to get more in front of goals. But there were still times where Rodri bailed City out of disturbing situations. So I put my hands up and I say, yeah, like he had a stellar season. I also look at the Euros, where he was one of the best players at the Euros. He wasn't Spain's best player, in my opinion, but he was definitely top 5 of them. I think that entire Spanish team was great. And then look on the other side to Vinicius Jr., who obviously for the Copa America didn't have a great one, but I look at the Brazil team and I think they all stink. Like, get them all up. Hey, wait. Let me just finish. Let me just finish. I just think they will stink, right? And I don't think Vinny did enough to pull that team through. Okay. But then I look at through his season, 20 goals and assists in 26 games. That is phenomenal from a winger, not a striker, not their forward, a winger. He started off this season really well as well. Obviously, I know it's not by calendar year anymore, but they can still factor that in. But he started off this season really well as well. 20 goals and assists from a winger in this day and age is not heard of. It's still
Some
very,
days he was playing up front though. Like they did the inverted two thing.
They
I
did.
know he's an out and out winger,
but he's not a striker to be putting up their numbers. And I say the same thing for Jude Bellingham as well, right? I'm just fighting his case.
No, I hear you.
And I also look at the things that he's doing off pitch, on pitch. He's got, in fact, let me not even get to off pitch yet. 10 goals and assists in the Champions League in 10 games as well. And then to go and win it on the final, right? In the final as well. He won the Champions League. He won the Liga. I just don't see how he didn't win the Ballon d'Or. I can understand why Rodri won it, but I can't see why Vinicius didn't win it. It just it's a difficult one for me to swallow. And I'm not gonna lie to you, because of everything that he's campaigned for off the pitch, and we look at race and we look at all of these individual factors of Vinicius Jr. as well as a person, it leaves a better taste in my mouth purely based off of that, not because of any footballing ability, because of everything outwardly. But hey, that's me.
I hear you.
Those are my thought processes.
That's a deeper
conversation.
That's a deeper one still. That's a deeper one still. And I do hear what you're saying. But Prince, what was you gonna say about the Rodri thing? 'Cause I feel like we are on the same wavelength in terms of like Rodri is actually like he has been so good.
and what you always got to remember in a lot of these things is like international always trumps club. Always. So the minute he won an international competition,
you see,
that's heritage of football.
I'm not hearing it. Because when Messi was stinking up for Argentina, he still won. When Rodri didn't win the Ballon d'Or,
but that one was fixed though. The Messi tax was that's a whole other scenario.
Rodri didn't win.
That was a whole different thing. But what I'm trying to say is that, bro, Rodri as a DM, doing what he was doing from DM, not attacking from DM. So not only was he saving City, he was also putting in goals and assists non-stop from a defensive position is mad. We have not seen that. And the reason why, even though I wanted Vinny to win it, but you know what? It's actually refreshing to see a non-attacker actually win the Ballon d'Or for once.
Facts.
This
every single time it's just an attacker. There's been goalkeepers that have had mad seasons, don't get no shout. There's been defenders. There's been switch it out.
When you're playing football, says I want to be a goalkeeper. Nobody says that. Everyone's like, oh, pass
people that want to be goalkeepers. There's a lot of people that turn around and say they want to be goalkeepers in this world. Are you crazy?
Goalkeepers, but once midfielders, now they're goalkeepers because that's the only thing they could do.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
That's disrespectful to goalkeepers. That's disrespectful to goalkeepers. There's a lot of goalkeepers out there.
They have a whole separate award though. They've got a Yashin award. They've got their own separate award. Sorry, Sam. Yes, Sam. Sam raised up his hand.
You saw him click it as well.
Ooh, I'm gonna use that more. But that's what I was gonna say. That's why it's good for like Rodri to get this award, because we have to start realizing, especially in modern football, the only bagsmen that we really have, that serious bagsmen, are Haaland and a few wingers. Yeah, we cannot just keep rewarding people for the goals and assists that they get. We have to reward them for their impact.
So much more.
And Rodri, and I hear it. Vinicius has had serious impacts for Real Madrid, but we can say in that Real Madrid side, up until maybe the last 3 or 4 months, Jude was carrying them. And then when you look at Vinny for Brazil, you said that the Brazil squad isn't good enough. You're telling me that Vinny having 5 goals in 35 caps for Brazil is good enough when he's senior in Neymar, played in some of the worst Brazil sides that we've ever seen in their national team history, and he is their top goal scorer ever during that period. Hey. If you're a scorer or you're who you are, you will score. Do you know what I mean?
I didn't say that I commend him for his international duties.
It plays a part, especially when your competitor has won the respective league, Then he's won a European League, European Cup in that as well. Yes, it's Super League, whatever. Still won it. Then won the Euros as well, being one of the best players. Like, come on. Like, I understand it. I wanted Vinny to win as well. I wanted Vinny to win as well. But it's unfortunate. He's going to have more of an opportunity.
All right, so I'm just double checking with everyone. So you lot are saying Euros is above Champions League. Is that what we're doing?
It's
It historically trumps it though, because it's not every season, is it? It does historically trump it. It does though.
Yo guys, you've reached halftime here at Keep It 90. If you like what you hear or see, make sure you give us a follow on all platforms, and also make sure you comment as well. Would love to hear what you lot think.
I think another big talking point about this whole Ballon d'Or issue is obviously the fact that Vinny and the whole of Real Madrid, I guess, is deciding not to go because of this. Like, what do you lot think about that? Like, do you feel like they should still turn up just out of ship?
You've won it how many times?
What I would say is though, because there's been times where a Real Madrid player hasn't won it, and Real Madrid players are there. So for me, something's happened. Something's happened that we're not aware of. Because for them to say none of these Real Madrid players are going, we've never seen this before.
And
so
bearing in mind, sorry, Copes. Bearing in mind, the Real Madrid team, they carry the Ballon d'Or heavy every single year. When it comes to Team of the Year, they carry it heavy. So the fact that they have pulled out, something is not right, and that's when I bring it back to the off-pitch instances. That's
or
what
is
I
it
bring it back
is that entitlement though?
But they don't win every year. They don't win every year. So it can't be entitlement if they don't win it every year.
They turned up
That's what I'm saying.
last year, no?
But I think it's been reported that he was going to win it. So they must have just thought that it was a given. And it must have come out before that they won.
Yeah.
There was also points where it was reported that Ronaldo was definitely going to win the Ballon d'Or, but Messi got it though.
Yeah, and they told him on the day. They probably told him on the day.
And they told him on the day as well. They're not going today.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Ronaldo, but see, for Ronaldo actually won multiple. So he could, like, for you not to turn up for your main competitor to win it, that looks moist. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, for Vinny and Perez, you can tell the type of CEO he is, bro.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
He knows how much weight that it holds for Real Madrid, especially. Probably thought he was going to win it, and he's not winning it. So he's saying, we're not going. Then if we're being completely honest, them man probably want to roll. You don't just win these Ballon d'Ors or get in the exercise of the years all the time. Like, you think Jude's gonna say, "Oh, I'm not rolling"? Like, from what we know of these guys, like,
his first XI and his first.
They wouldn't want to not go. Yeah.
And at the same time, I still look at it as, we know what type of CEO, what's his name, Perez is. We know, fine, cool, but players still have autonomy to do whatever the hell they want to do, right? If someone is nominated to be in the XI for the Ballon d'Or, I'm sure you wouldn't want to take that away from a player because that's his first time. Jude, for example, that's his first time being in there. And obviously, I don't know Perez. We all don't know Perez. We all don't know what's going on in the situation. Man said I know. But in my opinion, unless something comes out and they just say, oh, we didn't want to go because we felt like we were robbed, I'm sticking with Real Madrid and I'm backing their decision.
No.
That's me.
Do you feel like a Ballon d'Or can be robbed?
100%.
Yeah, talk to Haaland.
He's been robbed a couple times.
Away from.
Even Lewandowski was literally robbed.
Lewandowski's the only
one.
one.
Modric won that. The Modric thing was mad. Yeah, that was mad. But
Modric winning as well, that was crazy.
That was mad to me. That one was crazy. That's the one that always sticks to me. The Messi and Ronaldo attacks, we just leave that one. We know what that was. But yeah.
The last thing that Coates wanted to mention was the United situation with them trying to get Kobe and Kobe and Garnacho? Kobe and Garnacho on the plane with City. Now, from a fan that has experienced a lot of public humiliation, I when I saw that, I was like, why is that even a headline? Like, why do we know that?
Whoever leaked that is a prick.
Yeah, get deep.
You see, when we
have class.
You see, when we'll talk about things that we don't want to hear in the news, that is it. I don't.
No, but have class.
No. I want to know this because when United fans are chatting, what? You can't afford the jet? Nah, don't talk crazy.
Calling up your rivals. Hey, mate, you're right. So that jet you have.
Imagine the correspondence. No, that's crazy.
Broskies.
Yeah, no,
That's
they
embarrassing.
look bad. And on top of that, like that's the thing. United have gone through it. We might as well go through the weekend results and what led to Ten Hag losing his job. The West Ham game. Did anyone watch the highlights?
Yeah,
I've
what
watched-
highlights?
Yeah, what's
Yeah,
that?
that's it.
So it's so mad because I think that's probably the apart from last week, yeah, when they beat who did they beat again?
Was it Bright? No, not Bright.
It was
Brentford.
Brentford.
Oh yeah.
Say, aside from that performance, yeah, that the game against West Ham was probably the best performance that I've seen from United in terms of like creating chances standpoint. Defensively, they didn't look that bad. Like it for me, the biggest thing that I took away from that game is that VAR and refereeing, and we talk about it a lot, yeah. But I actually was like, you lot are actually you're taking
Taking a mick. Yeah.
taking it too far now, man. Like I feel sorry for everyone that has a decision against them because it's just that's affected a man's job. That decision that that they gave against the Ligt was mad. Or does anyone think it was actually a pen?
Nah, do you know what? Not that. I agree with you on that, but I don't think that affected his job though. I think his job was just always on fire.
I
Man.
think if he had drawn that game, I don't think he would have got sacked.
No, you gotta win that, man.
No, I think he's got to win still.
With,
I'm not gonna.
with West
If
Ham
you look at
form.
West Ham have been getting peppered
Yeah.
Yeah.
for weeks on weeks on weeks on weeks.
Mhm.
They've looked woeful. Their defense has been the worst,
Mhm.
and somehow you're telling me out of all the teams in the world, it has to be you lot that they turn around and win against.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
I think
2 wins
I
on the
think
bounce would have been
anything
good for him.
anything away from 3 points, he was getting
Yeah,
sacked.
you're
Even
gone.
if they drew that game, he was
Yeah.
getting sacked.
Yeah.
I don't think he was surviving.
Agreed.
But that decision was horrid.
Yeah, it was
Horrid.
shocking.
Horrid.
Shocking.
Fair enough. Yeah, and
But it was 3 points, and I think it was 3 points or bust. And I even think that motion would have carried on. Even if he stayed, it would have been 3 points or bust against Chelsea. 3 points of it was literally getting to because they drew against Fenerbahce in the week as well.
yeah,
He was under pressure.
yeah,
Mm.
definitely. All right, let's go on to the Super Sunday. Then Arsenal versus Liverpool, draw 2-2.
Yep.
Arsenal took the lead twice, and Liverpool came back twice. Saka was incredible. I've not watched Saka. Like I've watched Saka a lot, yeah. But I think that was a game where I was like, okay, cool. He's taking it personally. Like he doesn't like the disrespect, and he's showing why he is who he is. Like and the thing is, we know Saka can he can get the stats, the goals and assists, but he was moving like he didn't respect Robertson. And that's what I want to see. I want to see that arrogance. You know what I mean?
I wanted my wingers to show that before. I wanted my wingers to do the same thing.
All right, we'll get on to Neto though. But what Coach Shiz, what are we saying about Arsenal's performance and again more injuries?
Boy, yeah, injuries. It's becoming a serious problem at Arsenal. To be honest with you, I don't know what's going on. Like when you think last year, I feel like we were somewhat unblemished with them, and now they were just coming thick and fast. The overall performance was good. To be honest with you, I think we got robbed. Personally, I think
Again.
yeah, again. And I don't want to go into conspiracy theory. Yeah, listen, that whole foul from Anthony Taylor, that's not a foul.
Oh, wait, but can I just say something?
No, there was even 2. There was a whole thing on Martinelli when Konate went through Martinelli to get the ball.
Oh no, that was.
And then you wanted to
He
say
got
that
the ball,
wasn't
by
a foul because he got the ball. He did not get the ball.
He got
No,
the
the
ball.
triangle
He did
shot,
not
he got the
get
ball.
He went through Martinelli to get the ball. Like
No,
right there.
There's been angles. No, look. One thing I'm not going to allow is the Arsenal. Like I get how Arsenal fans feel. There was 2 angles of that Konate challenge. Konate got the ball, and bearing in mind the jump over the back was a foul. But the second thing, Havertz actually handballed the ball. So even if that didn't the ball, I literally saw the angle. It hit his hand, so that would have been chalked off anyway. I'm just saying.
And even at that,
I'm just saying
there was too many passages of play after that it wasn't a goal. Like it's not like from the header you scored. It was the Havertz handball. Then it went over. The rest of them stopped playing except from Trent, and you ended up scoring because everyone just stopped. So that's not a guaranteed goal. So yeah, That's all I wanted to say. And
I don't know. The Trent thing, I was a bit 50-50. But I'm telling you, if they went back to VAR, the minute they saw the Havertz thing, it hit his hand, it would have been short.
So what about the end of the game when was it Jesus and Tsimikas, and it hit Simikas's knee? Was it Tsimikas? I'm sure it was him, but it hit his knee and then he kicked it out, and then they gave a goal kick when it was clearly your corner.
That didn't make sense. Yeah, that to me didn't make sense.
Just bad decisions, and also
that one
let's also look at the weekend again. So Saliba got sent off for tackling the last man. We saw the same thing in the Chelsea game against Liverpool when Tosin tackled the last man, got a yellow card, right? And then Palace,
two different things. That was two
and
different scenarios.
then Palace with Van der Ven, and then Palace with Van der Ven. And then Palace and
the ball was going away from goal.
Also, come on, man. Oh, please. Like, this narrative, man. Like, bro, you're not even trying to hear it. Like, it's calm. Yeah, it's calm. I don't even care, Copes. You can talk about this, man. I can't be asked, bro. I can't be asked.
No, okay, Copes.
If it happens to you lot, then we'll see in it. But carry on, Copes.
My internet went about this, so I missed a bit what everyone was going. I'm annoyed in it. My internet trying to let me down here. But what I was going to say is, I heard someone mention about the Havertz for the second challenge and where it hit his arm. Now, it was above whatever the shirt line or whatever it's meant to be. That would have counted. That they would have looked at VAR and that would not have been a handball.
But there was still two moments after that led that the goal. It wasn't a certified goal. Do you get what I'm saying?
It wasn't a certified goal, but what I would say is Kyrgios wasn't a foul. Havertz, that wasn't a foul. So that means he's gone past him. So whether or not now Virgil and all these guys get the speed back to defend, what have you, neither here or there. But the point is that we're seeing there is Taylor's waiting for Havertz to get past the man to go, actually, no, bring that back.
No, but I think
even the Liverpool players weren't completely
baffled. They were baffled.
Yeah, no, everyone's like, what?
I think he should have blown the whistle. I think it's poor from the referee. Once you see someone jump over someone's back, blow the whistle. That's just literally basics of football. We've seen it so many times happen. Harry Kane used to, if you remember when Harry Kane was at Tottenham, he used to jump over defenders. Yeah. That's a foul. I don't understand why I know he might have thought the goalkeeper was going to get the ball, so he's just playing the advantage.
That's why
there's no advantage.
Yeah, but
there's no advantage. It's going backwards, meaning there's no advantage there. Yeah. Blow the whistle.
Yeah.
That was poor.
Yeah,
that was just poor from the referee.
Yeah. And they need to do better because, I hear you Arsenal's frustration because, you're allowed to feel that type of way. But I think where Arsenal not lost that game because you drew, but I think it's weird that I've seen Arsenal play this season, the games that they've gone up in, it's almost like you start dropping off. Like your energy isn't the same. I think after you scored the second, you was going for the third, but then you had a period where you just dropped off.
All right, but can I ask you a question, right? Because when it came into the second half, Gabby went down injured.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Right, so Gabby went down injured, so we then had a back four of Partey, who's not a right back, right? We had Kyrgios, we had a 17-year-old Lewis Skelly, right? And we had Ben White. And we had Ben White. Bro, come on, Vinny, for what? Zinny's getting phased out right now. Bro, he can't defend. Bro, let's be real. He can't defend. Why am I going to bring on someone who cannot defend?
Look.
It don't make sense.
Yeah, you do.
And also, you've got to remember, if we're being consistent, one thing about Zinchenko we've seen over the last 2 years, Salah puts him in his pocket. Why would I do that? If I'm Arteta, I'm not putting a guy where we have lost points because Salah will do what he needs to do with Zinchenko, bang, goal, bang, assist. You're not doing that, so you've got to bring on Lewis Skelly for the more defensive option.
But Skelly's
not a defender though.
No, but at least we can see he can defend better. Unfortunately, Zinchenko can't defend.
Do you think Skelly's a better defender than Zinchenko?
I think Arteta trusts in terms of look at our back line.
I'm asking you, Coach. Do you think Lewis Skelly is a better defender than Zinchenko?
Okay, I'll go yes. I've seen him play left back a couple of times. Yes, I trust Lewis Skelly there before Zinchenko currently at the moment. Zinchenko, we have seen game in, game out. He cannot defend. That is why we enjoy Timber. That's why if Tomiyasu was fit, he would have been there. Timber, Calafiori, all their man there would have gone before Zinchenko. What are we talking about here? What are we talking?
So, okay, I hear what you're saying. Anita had a hand up. So, Anita, what was you gonna say?
I feel like I can't say what I want to say anymore because Cope's gonna turn green. Cry me a river, bruv. Cry me a river. Guys, let's talk about your positive. Your positive came all from the first half. Second half, you got the injuries, fair enough, but you guys still took your foot off the gas.
Facts.
And that's the reason
Was
why
we
you
supposed
got
to play a high line?
I
Was we supposed to play a
honestly-
high line without having our solid back
I'm not
four?
even saying play a high line. I'm not saying play a high line, but just don't take your foot off the gas like you did. The way you did it was as if you guys went down to 9 men.
Facts.
Bro, you
Yeah,
still had 11v11 on the pitch. And if I'm being real with you, across that 90, you guys were the better team. Liverpool weren't up for that game. They should not have walked away from the Emirates with a point at all. Instead of looking at the referees, let's talk about Arteta's in-game management. Let's talk about all of that because that's where you guys got let down.
There's a lot of things
Yeah.
that can be correct. And this is what I was saying to a lot of people, especially on the TL, is that it can be correct that the referees were shit. It can be correct that, let's say, Martinelli didn't have a great game on the left when it came to a certain point. And it can also be correct that Arteta didn't have great in-game management. All three things can be correct. And I think all three things happened yesterday. I don't think Arteta's in-game management was great. Timber came back from injury and he was playing about 70 to 75 minutes of a game. He then went down injured and was still allowed to carry on playing. We could see that the attacking was going downhill in terms of like how well we were attacking, and we could see so many wasted opportunities from Martinelli there on the left. But we still kept Martinelli on the pitch when we could have put Trossard out wide, brought Nwaneri in, and that could have been a better.
Even Sterling,
We've done that in the 80-something minute, and guess what? The minute that Martinelli was taken off the pitch, Havertz found space on the left, and we were able to be a bit more attacking. It came entirely too late. It came entirely too late. Martinelli didn't have a great game. His touches were poor. Final third, his execution was poor. There was a lot of things in that game where a lot of people weren't doing great jobs. Even Trossard, I don't really think that he had a great game as well. When he went out on the left, he had a better game. But it doesn't mean that just because the in-game management was poor or the players weren't playing that great, it don't mean that refereeing decisions were poor as well. Like three things can be correct.
They're all correct, yeah. But my problem with Arsenal fans is that you guys focus heavy on refs. Like, I'm not saying you two in particular, but the general consensus from Arsenal fans is always the ref this, the ref did that. And I just wanted to change it from the refs and just move straight into what you guys did wrong and what you guys didn't do right.
And if I'm being honest with you, I think a lot of Arsenal fans don't want to mention it. The problem is we get some of these stupid calls that we've seen, particularly this season, where it's like, just give us a break. Like, give us a break. Like, we don't want to talk about the refs. Like, you know my stance on referees and VAR and all that. Like, I don't even want to have those kind of conversations, but just leave it. Let's leave the BS out.
I remember that was that Werner season for us, and it was them VAR decisions.
Like we don't like.
You're saying, I get it. I get it.
Like, I hate talking about arrest and all these controversies. Just leave it out. Like, what are you guys doing?
You know what it is for me, and I can trust me. I know how you feel, yeah. But my thing is, like, every top team has an agenda against refs. Every top team. I think the only team, to a certain extent, maybe have it a bit lighter, Liverpool. But
always Liverpool.
But even remember, there was a period where they were on to, like, Klopp was on to.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Like, they've had periods that every top team has had that period. Even when we talk about the Chelsea game versus Newcastle, there was a few situations where I'm thinking, this just doesn't make sense to me. Like, you're not being consistent in any area. So I think if you're challenging for a title, you know, the age-old Super Sunday League, the rest, the play to the whistle and all of this stuff. Like, that's how I think that Arteta has to approach the league now, because no one's going to give you anything. You've been one of the most, like, not aggravated. I wouldn't say aggravated, but it's almost like we know what Arteta brings. He's had the situations on the sideline, so the fourth officials aren't going to feel him and all of that stuff. Arsenal aren't necessarily like the most liked team. We've all seen the dark arch. You lot praise it with the Ben White and all this stuff. So people are naturally, like, innately not going to want to, like, be in your favor. So you have to go into the games with that mindset. The ref's not going to give this. If you think it's offside and it's not offside, just keep running. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, because you're going to find yourself every week on this pod talking about the decisions that affect your game when it's going to be the case. Like,
No, but Sam, that's all understandable. But like, you telling me that fans still can't be frustrated about this? Like,
Of
bro, at the end of the
course
day,
you
we all love football. We all love to just watch football being played correctly and consistency across many different decisions. Like, I'm not like what you're saying is true. Yes, top teams, yes, they do get the brunt of it. Yes, they do have issues with refereeing decisions. Yes, they do have issues with VAR. We understand this, but it still don't mean that we can't be frustrated over decisions where I feel like we get punished a lot harsher than a lot of other teams, and that's 100%. How many times in a game have we seen since the whole Declan Rice situation? We see people kicking the ball away, and none of them get a yellow card. And this is the same stuff me and Copes was talking to you a lot about in the other pods, where we were saying that yes, we're not saying that certain decisions have to go Arsenal's way. I'm not sitting here saying that, no, we done something wrong or we broke the letter of the law and therefore we shouldn't be punished for it. I'm not saying that. But if you're going to have the letter of the law, then I believe that everyone should be punished fairly, because I don't feel like it's starting to feel like you said, again, the dark arts and all of this stuff, people might not want to see stuff in our favor. I totally understand that. Like, trust, I do understand that. But that consistency level needs to be across every single person. Like, how is it that we're always treated a lot harsher than every other team? And that's just facts. If you don't want to see it, you don't want to see it, innit? Because I'm not expecting rival fans to 100% see where we're coming from, innit? Like, I've spoken to so many different people, and there's a lot of people that do see that, yeah, there is a little bit more harshness. I'm not going to lie to you. But yeah, it's still, yeah, suck it up. It's still, yeah, I hear it, move on. But a lot of people are seeing it.
All I want to say is welcome back to the top of the league. This is it. This is what it is.
Yeah. I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm just saying you can't.
No.
No one can look at anyone and be like, oh, don't be mad about it. Like, of course I'm going to be mad about it.
That's what I'm saying. I've been there, so I get what you mean. I'm just saying, welcome back to the top of this is the mess.
Because every decision that feels so crucial. That's why I get what you're saying. Like, but my thing is just not an anomaly. It's not something that is just exclusive to Arsenal. It is. Look at what we talked about United. Did you see how they got bumped yesterday?
Yeah, but everyone's getting bumped. That's what I'm saying. Everyone's getting bumped. So the problem is PGMO.
Yeah, the whole refereeing system.
Well, we've been saying this for like 2 years, by the way. Like, it's just getting to a point where it's like, I don't even it's getting to a point sometimes. Yeah, I don't even want to celebrate when my team score, because I'm just like, all right, what's going to happen? It's so
okay.
And I've been there.
So like, it's just annoying. You score a goal and then and even now it's getting down. The players don't even celebrate half as hard anymore, because when they score, I've seen so many times players score. Even actually, tell a line. We're gonna go into El Clasico, but even there was a point where Mbappe was through. And before the guy concentrated on goal hard, he was looking at the linesman at a point, because he was like,
because he knew he was offside. That man was offside.
But these are the things that are happening in football where players did not look at that before. They would concentrate on the goal, the net, and the celebration. And if it gets talked, it's talked. But it's like now players do a half-hearted celebration because they're thinking the screen's gonna come up, something's gonna it's the culture's not the same.
At one point, we're gonna have to evaluate, as a footballing society and community, not just talking about us, I'm talking about the people that make the decisions, right? They're going to have to look at whether this technology is harming football or actually making a positive contribution. And they've got to sit down and be real with themselves, because the whole VAR being introduced was exciting to begin with. It was absolutely something that we couldn't even think about. Goal line technology was something that was like, oh my God, I can't wait for this to come in. And now it just seems like there's so much more negatives around it. That is it even worth it at this point? I don't know. I always say,
it's
I
worth
don't know, man.
It's worth it. Because
the frustration around it is a lot.
That's because who's running it, though.
This is it. The technology itself does what it needs to do.
It works in every other sport, Anita. Like every other sport I watch, it works so well.
What's the anomaly with football?
It's the
people in charge.
Yeah, it's the people in charge. And it's also
talk about La Liga as well. It's a La Liga issue too.
And it's also how quickly we implement this. And it's also how quickly we implement this stuff. So, for example, the World Cup, or was it the Euros, had, for example, the semi-automated offsides.
Yeah.
We still haven't got this in the Prem was meant to have this by the first international break. They've delayed it. Like, this is also the problem. Like, where the technology is there to implement, to help these things out and smoothen the process out. leagues are just delaying it and again causing this controversy and causing this trouble where it's like, just hurry up and put this stuff in.
They know people are going to lose jobs. That's why. So
Yeah,
the minute
100%.
that comes in, people are going to lose stuff and they don't
Maybe
want
that's
to
what
do
we
that.
need.
It's genuinely it's sad that
It's taxing.
it actually like dominates a lot of the conversations that we have around football. But let's move on to a happier place.
Bearing in mind, we'll be talking about it next week as well.
Yeah,
It's
no,
going to
for
happen
sure.
next week.
For sure.
That's us so bad.
Let's
Oh,
move
but-
on to
Well, I won't.
And by the way, also, Martinelli's my guy, but he's on the chopping block right now. I'm just putting it out as well.
Only right now.
Hey, listen, I had to listen. I have to, give him that.
Wait,
Give him
why?
a chance.
Why?
I was talking to some of my guys about this over the weekend. I think me and Shez even touched on it a bit when we were at the Champions League game. I just feel like we're chasing the City at this point. So there's fine margins in getting these results. And I just feel like the confidence of Martinelli for the last season now and a half, I don't know what's happened to him, but he seems like a shell of himself. The final third, he's not like, I don't know, he's not looking up sometimes. He's afraid to tackle, he's afraid to take on a man. The shooting is woeful at times. It's just, a lot of it is just where if you're trying to get to that next level, again, I just don't know what's happened. It's just
Welcome to our Callum era. I've been there as well.
yeah, it looks like, and it's a shame because I genuinely like Martinelli as a player. He's exciting, but it's just where we are right now in the project. I look at him sometimes and I just think, you need to you look at Saka, you look at Ødegaard, you look at all
that Saka gapped him. Oh my days.
and that's it.
And by a lot, and it's
Point where they were like this. Like
Bro.
I was saying, I genuinely, when people ask me, who do you think is gonna kick on the most? I've actually said on air somewhere that I think Martinelli
is
will
going to be the one.
Like,
Yeah, I remember a lot of people. I remember when it was actually a debate, and then now it's like, what's kind of scary is Saka's just excelled, but then it's like there's so much more. We ain't even seen where Saka's gonna go.
So much
It's
untapped
scary, but then it's
potential.
like I feel like now Martinelli's just captain. There was a point where I was watching the game, and where Martinelli should have sprinted and just taken on Trent.
It was even
It's like he
Kanate.
stopped. Or was it Kanate? And he stopped, and then he just went back and then tried to switch the ball to Saka. And I'm thinking, bro, you're the man here. You're meant to be the man. You're the show him. But yeah,
But is that on Arteta though? Because I remember. Okay. I'm
no,
not.
wait.
Nah.
Wait. I just
Go on, land,
remember
land,
when
Leaks, land,
when
land.
Martinelli first came to the league and he was just raw talent, right? And there was a lot of things that he was doing in his first couple of years where he was always attacking on goal. And then there was that, I think it was the third season that he's been here, where he managed to control how fast he goes into the final third and his decision making in the final third as well. And I think that's when he got his highest goal scoring tally of the season. I think so. Anyway, but he did really well. But Arteta always says that he needs to work on his patience, his timing, things to do in the box. So maybe that could be playing in his mind. That's the only reason why I say it, because the Martinelli that I see now is just so different from the Martinelli from that season. But
Arteta's saying that's not wrong though.
It's not wrong. It's not wrong.
Yeah.
You have to
But
grow.
he-
You have to grow as
how many
players.
goals did he get? Like 17 or something?
Yeah, but you can't just be gun ho all the time. That's what I mean. You can't just do that. Like if you look at Doku's another example of a player that's just gun ho, wants to go, but you should see Pep slowed him down, but he's still effective. It's about what you do as a player and how you adapt. That's what makes you the great. Saka, come on, if we're talking about adapting, he was a left back.
Yeah.
If we're talking do you get me? If we're talking about adaptation, that guy adapted. Now look at him. Nutmeg. Robertson's on the floor, sliding off the pitch. He's nearly landed into the fans and the ball's landed in the net. That's adaptation.
Don't let me start talking about Robertson, fam, because anyway.
What a goal, by the way. What a goal, by the way.
Let's move on to Chelsea anyway, because they had a 2 p.m. kickoff against Newcastle, which I wouldn't say historically at the Bridge it's been a tough game, but I think Newcastle have earned the right to be a tough game in the last few seasons. And I think it still could have gone either way. But from my perspective, viewing that game, it was nice to see that Chelsea almost know what I've seen from Enzo anyway. He knows how to line up against like the teams that he's facing. So he knows the strengths of his players and he knows who will work against who.
Why did you say that? Because of Neto.
Neto starting on the left and then Lavia starting in the middle again, even though we know that he favored Enzo at the start of the season. And also, what's his name on the right for Newcastle? one of their wingers on the right. I think he, for example, he thought that Gordon was going to be playing, yeah. So he started Gusto on the right and Reece James on the left because he knows how strong,
Like
like
to
how,
run,
like how strong they are as a team, but how much runners that they have. And I feel like he didn't want James to go up against that, but go on that. What's happening, guys? Like, you know when you get, you're trying to, you're so gassed, you're just talking so much. He wanted Reece James to start on the left because he didn't want the battle against Gordon to like affect him coming back from.
No, I honestly did not see it that way, and
Really?
for that reason, I'm like, all right. I honestly didn't see it that way because I thought starting Reece James on the left instead of Gusto was a little bit weird, and obviously Cucurella being fully fit to start that game as well. I was just thinking this is a little bit of a weird choice, and to start off the game, Reece didn't look that comfortable on that left-hand side, so I was questioning it a little bit. Obviously, he warmed up towards the end of the first half. Second half came out guns blazing, and I thought, okay, cool. But I really did question at the beginning. But when you put it like that, it was a smart choice from him.
And that's what I'm saying. Like what we've seen from Enzo now, yeah. Like obviously, I'm not getting carried away because I'm not saying we're going to win the league. I'm not saying we're guaranteed top 4, whatever. But with how he started this season and how he's like silenced majority of the haters, and people now say, okay, cool. When we watch Chelsea, we know how they're going to line up. We know nearabouts he's starting 11 for the Premier League. He's starting 11 for cup competitions. This has only been 3 months. Do you know what I mean? The fact that the players have got smiles on their face. No one's talking about Nico Jackson being this. They're talking about him being one of the best strikers in the league now. They're talking about how good Caicedo is. Palmer's still obviously got a hype. Now we're almost seeing what we saw when Tuchel took charge of the Lampard side, when they were like, oh, under Lampard, it was not a great side. Under Tuchel, this is great. Like, do you know what I mean? So what are you saying, Prince? Because I know you probably watched that game like.
Yeah. I think what's going on at the club right now is nice. It's a nice turnaround, and at the end of the day, I think even losing to Liverpool, no one wants to lose, but it done us favors because it kept us. I saw some Chelsea fans, not saying their names, some in here, they was going above their heads, right? In terms of where we was gonna, and sometimes it was that reality check, and then to bounce back. You know what I mean? We was like, come on, all that we did the league stuff, we're not there yet, right? But what we gotta understand is Enzo's finding the roles. That role of Caicedo, I know we all talk about Cole Palmer, but the role of Caicedo in this team is absolutely mental, right? And then even the ascendance, like the Nicholas Jackson turnaround and how he works so well, the confidence in him, the trust of Madueke, and do you know what I mean? It's like, it's just that left wing piece now. Is it Neto? Is it Sancho? Is it, do you know what I mean? Who's it going to be? Even down to like the midweek games and the whole rotation of the club. I mean, we've got the players to do it, but it's like the trust of it, it's all linking up very well. And yeah, I'm happy. It weren't the best game. It was a bit shaky. I was a bit scared towards the end of the game, if I'm dead honest, only because the history of Newcastle. They put the towers on, and sometimes Fofana can be a bit shaky, especially when they're gonna start throwing balls into the box. But we survived. Reece James with a last minute clearance over his own goal. I mean, that was bravery, and we're just building. We're building. I'm happy. We're building. It's 3 points. We just continue.
It's nice to see, and I think with Chelsea, they've got a few games coming up as well, so it's going to be interesting to see how they face against United. They've got Arsenal in the next few weeks as well. But yeah, man, I think it's a good place to be as a Chelsea fan. I think, Coach, what are you saying? Because you haven't smiled once since we were praising Enzo and Chelsea. I thought you were a big fan.
He nodded when I said Caicedo. He did not.
What would you say? What would you say is the thing that is like pleasantly surprised you the most about how Enzo and Chelsea are moving?
I think it's just that you just guys got a comfortable starting 11 at this point. If I'm honest with you, you guys have realized, for example, you can't force the whole, for example, Enzo Fernandez despite his price tag. You realize he's not quite fit the system to start. He seems to be the leader of the second team, i.e. for the cup competitions. I saw him during during last week, which by the way, it's disgusting how you guys have basically got a whole second 11 for that cup competition. It's actually disgusting. I was watching that game, I'm thinking, you got João Felix and Nkunku, all these boys. I'm thinking, what kind of foolishness is this, fam? How you not get away with this? But I think I'm just pleasantly surprised that you guys have found that starting 11 and it's clicking. Which
What did you say, Shiz?
Said must be nice. We have a starting 11, and that's forced in every competition, every cup, every league. And that starting 11 don't get rest.
Look at their left. They got Neto, Felix, Mudryk, who else?
Sancho's out there.
Sancho.
Sancho. Nkunku could go there. Yeah.
It must be nice. Like,
I used to pray for times like this. I used to pray. Just 2 years ago, we were on our knees for a second team, and now we finally got it. And you know what I find so beautiful is that Enzo's allowed us to see what a second team looks like. Whereas Pochettino last season, we never got to see what a second team would look like. Granted, there were some injuries, but still, this has given me so much more faith for us to definitely finish top 4. No one can tell me that I'm aiming too high to finish top 4. I feel like if you're not aiming for a top 4, your ambitions are way too low. Prince. Oh, you're nodding your head now. Okay.
No, that's not win the league. I said not win the league. We're not. You were talking about we were winning the league. We're not winning
mathematically possible. And as we are a team, one of the few teams with a second team, it is still mathematically possible. We never know what's going to happen. But anyway, I'm just very happy with where the team's at and where Chelsea is currently sitting, both in European competitions and in the Premier League. I do think it's going to be a massive test going to Newcastle for the Carabao Cup. I want to see us get that win, but I'm not confident that we'll get it. So let's see.
Love that.
St. James's Park, innit?
Yeah, St. James's Park, big change.
I can throw you all the way up there and that, like,
Yeah,
out the way.
Yeah.
Let's,
What are we saying? Group trip to Newcastle, yeah.
I think
I don't
that's still.
Newcastle's a vibe.
It's
Let's quickly talk about Spurs Newcastle though, because it was 1-0. No, Spurs Newcastle, Spurs Crystal Palace. Palace, I think that's their first win of the league. First win of the season.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, it was.
Big win for them, but not a good sign for Ange and his Spurs side, because I think that they are struggling to find consistency, which is interesting for an Ange side, because they started the season so well last season, and I think they've had a few good results this season, like the United 3-0 as well. They had a good result in the Europa League midweek. So
they top or drawn top or something like that,
I think so. But they obviously raving about Mikey Moore, who's a really good up and coming player. But yeah, it's a weird one. I think we have to speak about Spurs. Like, what are we saying for them? What do we think that the main issue is?
I think Copes was there. So Copes, you got to kind of lead on this one. What was it? What was you seeing?
Yeah, I was there. I mean, to be honest with you, one thing I was seeing is that these boys can't play from the back. I'll be honest with you. And I think that's like a lot of teams. A lot of teams are trying to follow this play from the back. And sometimes I just feel like if you ain't got the personnel, just try something a bit different. And they were, and they were just forcing it all the time. And Mateta and them boys would just sort of run them down and panicking. They were like, literally, you could just see sometimes with these Spurs guys where they were like, we don't want to be doing this. So I think that was one of the biggest things. Vicario looked shaky as hell. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, just nothing was clicking. I mean, it was funny actually, because in the beginning of the game, we're talking to a few like Spurs guys that made their way into the home section, and they were even saying themselves, we're not all that confident here against Palace, and it just showed. I think Maresca had a time trying to do on the counter, and the pace wasn't working because Palace have actually got a few guys that can actually run as well, like Muniz and Mitchell and them boys. So they just didn't have a plan for Palace. And obviously the brilliance of Eze came.
I was going to say, what an assist, by the way.
Dirty. It was dirty.
It's quick. It's slick. It's just everything. Like, man.
The only thing that I saw it and I was like, that is crazy, yeah. But I feel like he was trying to touch it into his left foot path. I don't think. Yeah. Because the way he was going after it after he made that touch, I feel like he was going to strike it. Like, either way, it's a good assist. But when you watch it back, you can see.
I might have to rewatch it because I only watched it from the regular angle. So when I saw it and I saw I said, huh? Like that was something quick, and that was the pass of the weekend, and especially I even put that one above
The Palmer one.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
no,
it's cool.
fair enough. What are we saying for Spurs in general? Do we feel like there's no need to panic, or they just need to find consistency?
How do you want me to answer it though? Do you want me to answer it if I was a Spurs fan, or answer it as a non-Spurs fan? Because like if it's like me as in a Chelsea fan, it's like, all right, well, Spurs, isn't it? This is just how it's gonna be. This is your season. You're not, you know what I mean? You're gonna race for top 4. You might get, you might not. If I was a Spurs fan, it's time to panic, because that top 4 is it's tough. I know even we're laughing at Man United. They were only 3 points behind before they lost on the weekend. The table's tight. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
I hear you. I haven't looked at...
I'll panic a bit.
I think it's time for them to panic 100%. And I think we got to monitor how they do in the cup competitions and see how their progress is there. Because if there are shaky performances in these cup competitions, I'm talking Europa League, Carabao, FA Cup, and there's an exit in either one of them by the time it comes to December, there is something to panic about, and it's going to be down to Levy whether he jumps the gun or whether he sees it through.
Boy, well, they've got City next in the Carabao Cup. They've got Villa after that, then Galatasaray. They got a good game with Ipswich, and then City after that as well. So they've got a few tough fixtures.
Are they far away to Galatasaray?
They are away.
Good luck.
So it's going to be interesting to see what Ange does. But let's move on to another big game that happened during the weekend. Yeah, the El Clasico. One of the reasons why I think Vinny's not winning the Ballon d'Or. I don't know why, if it's connected or not, but you can't lose 4-0 in your backyard. You can't lose 4-0. And the worst thing is, Ancelotti said after the game, it wasn't a 4-0 game. And it wasn't.
No, it was 6.
But it was.
It was a 6-0 game.
No, it could have been it's like a 6-4.
6-2. 6-2.
6-2, yeah.
6-2.
Madrid, Mbappe, he's in big trouble. The reason I say that is because Real Madrid, he's come to Real Madrid at a point where they were actually fine without him. Yeah. So you have to prove your worth straight away. If you don't, they're going to be onto you. You can't let Lamine Yamal come to your yard with designer braces.
That celebration was so cold, though. That celebration was so cold. I watched that game. I loved it.
Well. Designer braces.
Yeah.
Are we understanding what this little youth is doing?
Babyface assassin, man. He's crazy.
He did Vinny's celebration as well.
The thing is, Lewandowski missed 2 sitters that game. Mbappe missed
he's done his celebration.
Yeah, he's done his celebration.
In the tunnel, I would have given him a wedgie, you know. I can't lie. You see my celebration. How dare you get here, little boy?
It was just like Barcelona in that second half. Like, I don't know. Barcelona just said, all right, let's play football. And they absolutely kicked them all over the park. It was scary. I was jumping up. I kept jumping out of my chair because I was like excited by how good, like it felt like old school Barcelona I was watching. I was like, what is this? The counter-attack was deadly. And then Mbappe, just let us down.
Do we think that it's a one-off night for Real Madrid? And the only reason I'm saying that is because obviously we saw midway through the week the terrific comeback in the Champions League against Dortmund, where when they want to turn it on, they can turn it on. So do you think it's one of those things where they just weren't at the races?
I think
they're both.
Yeah, I think Dortmund aren't good enough. Yeah, Real Madrid, they've shown that they have a few issues this season. They've got too many stars. I didn't think it was going to be an issue because I thought Ancelotti is a guy and he's capable of doing anything. But it's an issue. It's an issue.
Like if I was an Arsenal fan,
Jude hasn't bagged this season. Mbappe doesn't look comfortable down the middle. Yes, he's had loads of chances, but like he just doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel the same. Like,
did you guys see the reports about apparently it was only Perez sort of pushing getting Mbappe in the summer? Apparently, quite a few people in the Real Madrid hierarchy weren't really on for Mbappe to join the summer. I don't know if anyone else saw that.
I'm not surprised because this is the greed they talk about in the Bible. You cannot have this many superstars in one team and think it's going to miraculously work. You have to cater to every single one of them.
Hey, I said this, and y'all looked to me like I was crazy.
No, it's true. Sorry.
I said, do you not think Mbappe? Do you not think it's too many cooks? And you're like, nah, he's gonna cook over there. He gonna
that's right.
It's true.
No, but you know what it is? It's because I want Mbappe to do well. Like he's a player in modern day football that I'm actually rooting for because he's a great player. He's exciting. Like he's done what he done when he burst onto the scene. But I think here at the Madrid side, you're looking at a team with Vinicius Jr., who is currently the star man. And I think to a certain extent, Vinny not winning the Ballon d'Or has saved Mbappe a lot of embarrassment. Like not even just because he would winning it or whatever, but that being the case, that will solidify him as Real Madrid,
the alpha
man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now he's got the opportunity to
show everyone,
everyone what he's on, because we ain't seen it enough, and you're still in all the competitions, but at the same time, you need to just do more, man.
Sorry, just a quick one, because I've literally just seen this just now, right? So I don't know if you lot knew, but obviously in the El Clasico game, I think Gavi put up like a 4 towards Vinny to show him like this is the scoreline, and then Vinny said something to him like, "Oh yes, but on Monday I'm going for the Ballon d'Or." And then obviously now there was like reports where a Spanish journalist criticized Vinny on his lack of class, saying that you have no class for saying stuff like that. You haven't won, but you should show some respect for the winner. That's the biggest thing of sportsmanship in it, is just not brag and do all that extra stuff. And then now all of a sudden,
you see what I'm saying?
See, these are the undertones that
Ronaldo used to do that all the time.
You see what I'm saying?
This is the undertones Anita was talking about. What are we talking about? So wait, a man can brag 4-0 to you, but if I do a rebuttal, I'm the villain. Like this is ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
You see what I'm saying? If this is true, again, I stand with Madrid. Me too. If I had the money, I would fly to Madrid and stand with them. Yeah.
Crazy. But that's a big loss for Ancelotti. I think he's gonna have to figure it out for sure.
I know how they're figuring out. They're calling someone centre back. I ain't gonna say too much. I saw that centre back pairing was absolutely horrible. They're calling somebody's main French centre back to go over there.
Canate is the better one. Go take Canate then.
I know whose agent they're calling. After that, I literally watched the game, and when I watched it, I said, oh my gosh, I see why they want Saliba.
They will get him. And guess who else they're going to be texting simultaneously? Trent is going. And Trent's words saying that he wants to win the Ballon d'Or ahead of a Champions League, ahead of a World Cup is just...
Trent said that.
Trent said
it the other day. He said it the other day, yeah.
It just solidifies to me he's not re-signing. He wants to go to Real Madrid. You can't win a Ballon d'Or at Liverpool. No one can convince me that it can be done.
Judy Pie.
Breaking news, quickly.
That's why my phone's blowing up like this.
Manchester United are working on a deal to appoint Ruben Omirim as head coach. MUFC are ready to pay 10 million release clause in talks with Sporting CP to finalise. The 39-year-old Portuguese is open to accepting the move, and it has come from the best journalist out there, David Ornstein.
Oh, so it's happening then.
So
it's happening then.
Man.
You know what? I saw my phone. I literally saw my phone, and it's so funny because my boy. I don't know if you can see it, but my boy literally said, "Prince, talk about it on the podcast. I know you're on there. They're talking crazy, and there's gifts and all that going on. It's They're happy. They're happy. That is a good manager to go there. That's a good manager.
I'm happy they didn't go with the obvious choices. I'm really happy they didn't go with obvious choices. They've gone with someone young, someone fresh. Let's see. In fact, no, I'm not happy. I wish
this has been going on behind the scenes then. Like
it must have.
That's too quick. The turnaround was too quick.
Who was he linked with before? Was it Liverpool? Because he was
Chelsea and Liverpool. Chelsea and Liverpool. Both of us.
It was Liverpool during the season, and I think that he had to come out and apologize for being linked with them. There was something along those lines. He had to apologize for like having conversation or something like that. But crazy work. There's a few more stories before we have to close out before anything else happens, and we're on till like 9. Nigeria have won their case against Libya, so they got 3 points and 50k for being stranded in a flipping airport for 24 hours basically.
Have
Ridiculous.
some fucking class. They should have some class. Libya
That-
should have some class.
And they're just lucky that Nigerians are, yes, we're stubborn and yes, we can be prideful, whatever, but we make the most out of any situation. And they did not, they could have done a lot more from that and all got 50K minimum each player and coach. So yeah, it's good that they got the 3 points from that.
Once if you
Then-
captured set I'd have punched him more than that, boy. Because that was an AFCON qualifier, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Boy, out of Libya, boy, out of that thing. Everyone else giving them the 3 points. Now you can't be doing that's ridiculous. How they got away with it, or how did they think they were going to get away with it against one of the biggest like African nations out there? I don't know. all them stars that are across Europe. I just in my head, when it was going on, I just thought to myself, how do you not think you're getting away with this,
Bro?
It just
Like when it was happening, there was no part of me that thought Nigeria were gonna drop points. There was no part of me that thought it at all. I said, us African giants, not a bloody chance. Anyway,
Terrible though. Still terrible. I still can't believe
awful.
yeah.
that. Still can't believe that happened.
I can do a whole essay about what they're doing to Nigerians in that country, but anyway, I won't talk too much.
But lastly, the women's game, the young lionesses have reached the semi-finals in the under-17s Women's World Cup. So big them up.
That's massive.
Women's game,
Let's go.
the women's game continues to grow, and they're just outshining the men's team. To be honest,
Yeah.
the levels are just incredible on that side. So yeah, man, wish them luck as well. And it's been another episode of Keep It 90, man. It's been a lot. I feel like we've been speaking for like 3 hours.
Bruh.
Yeah.
There was even so much more we could.
Yeah, it's true.
There was. So
And we ain't
much
even
this
spoke about
weekend,
Cole Palmer being the best player in the league.
man.
Oh, okay, yeah, this is where we are, right? And it's a wrap, guys. Yeah,
No, but that's
Yeah,
that's
man.
standard, man.
And we've been keep it 90. Let's go.
Always
Do you
got
guys
some
not
toxicity, man. You got to add some toxicity in there, man.
Oh, I thought it was just
Dirty.
pure facts. Never mind then.
Nah, boy, he's up there.
Nah,
I
So
think
Chelsea,
he's
you're
up
a
there.
Chelsea fan, of course.
It's just pure
It's
facts,
25th
man.
Nah, he's got. Even for me, as a Chelsea fan, he's the bigger games. He has to take it over. That Liverpool game, he was
Definitely.
quiet. He's got to take it over, Anita. Let's not be silly. I want to see, like, for example, I want to see him go against Man United and destroy that
I'm
game.
so
But to
sorry.
be
You're
fair,
I
dampening
want
my
to see him
mood.
against us because we didn't play you. He didn't play when you lot came to Emirates. I need to see him
Yeah.
out.
But to be
Yeah,
fair,
yeah.
last season he bagged against all of the top 6 sides.
he did. No, he did still.
But we don't need to talk about Cole
We don't
Palmer.
need to talk
He's
too
gonna
much.
He's gonna do something for us against United. But yeah, the biggest news from today is Ten Hag has been sacked. They got Omarim as potentially the next manager, and Vinny's not
Potentially,
getting the Ballon d'Or, and he's not going to France. Huge.
Man.
Thank you guys for joining us.
Yep, verbally agreed. By the way, I just seen another one. It's verbally agreed.
Verbally agreed.
Well,
Oh wow.
Wait, what is?
new era.
Anarim is verbally agreed.
Damn.
Hey, look, let's get into that game before he gets over there. Let's have Van Nistelrooy. I don't want Anarim there.
No, wait till after December as well. Like, 4th of December, I need to be off.
Van Nistelrooy, please. Manage, I know you got something. Let's cook you lot and then you lot can have Anarim after that. Thank you.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in. We appreciate you. Peace. See you later. Bye-bye.
Yo, what's going on, peeps? Copes here with Keep It 90. If you enjoyed what you just saw, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube and keep up to date with us on all social platforms.